Today, my guest is a former WWE developmental talent. He's an international star. You may remember him as the Giant Titan. Michael, how are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I'm glad we finally were able to get together here.
Yes, sir. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah.
So, how did professional wrestling come into your life? What made you want to get into this crazy
You
industry?
know, like most of us, like wrestling was a part of my life, like ever since I was a little guy. And I remember like watching wrestling when I was probably 5 or 6, and like I remember like seeing Hulk Hogan and seeing all these crazy over the top characters. I was like, man, that was really something. And I started to get into it a little bit more. I started identifying with some characters like a lot of us we would you like play wrestle with your friends and stuff like that. I always got to be Andre the Giant, got to be Undertaker. You know, it was always a big part of my life. And later on, like I never really was super duper into like football, and I did play football in high school, but I was never really like into it. It was something about team sports. Like I was much more into stuff like we had like a powerlifting team. And I was doing weightlifting and stuff, and that was really much more my style. And yeah, like trying to think of the early 2000s, I had started looking for a school. I found Dory Funk School in Ocala, not too far away from where I lived, and like reached out to them. We set up a date and time for a meeting. They told me about everything that was going on there, all the stuff that they did, and I knew Dory was definitely a name. Like
Hmm.
I was familiar with Terry Funk. Yeah, the Funk name is very famous in wrestling, so I knew I was in a good place. Like I was in good hands with those guys.
So, what was
And
your? Go ahead.
go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask what your first initial thoughts were stepping into the ring.
Well, I should go backwards a little bit. Before I got to Dory's, I actually did a little bit of backyard, and I was working out with some guys. I know. I think everybody is a closet backyard wrestler in one way or another.
Hmm.
Um, but it was like I would call it like upper scale backyard. Like they had like an actual wrestling ring, and a lot of the guys that were there were actively working on other shows. They had gotten some sort of formal wrestling training from other people. So that's kind of where like I already had like a few skills here and there in the ring before I got to Dory's. And Dory had noticed that you seemed like like I already knew how to run the ropes and do that kind of stuff. So he's like, "Have you worked anywhere before?" Because I didn't say anything to him about that. And eventually after a little while, I was like, "Yeah, like that." I had trained a little bit of backyard wrestling before I got here. And they're like, just they can see him, he just like raise his eyebrows to me. Okay, okay. Well, it's pretty good time. But I'm trying to think through Dory. I got a few opportunities. I had there was a lot of like just getting started working shows and stuff like that. There was a lot of that coming through because I had a decent amount of momentum, well, with wrestling starting
Hmm.
out. And I was Dory was very adamant, like you don't want to lose that. Like when you're hot, you're hot. Like just keep riding that wave. So I had people that were wanting me to book me and stuff like that. And then um, let's see, I got to after Dory's, I got to travel quite a bit. I went to Canada, went to Puerto Rico a few times. Got to go over to Europe. I wrestled in England, I think, twice. Then we went over to Europe. I got on a couple of tours with a few guys, and that was really super exciting. Um, I had actually, I think, I moved to Puerto Rico in like 2006, and I was working for IWA down there for a minute, and Yeah, that was working in Puerto Rico really got me caught up a lot. Like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
if I did need any work on anything, that was the place to work stuff out because we were probably working five, sometimes six shows a week. Like it was really a high volume of shows. Like it
Mm-hmm.
was, and the crowds there are, you know, second to none. There's not too many crowds like a PR crowd. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's they are hot. Like you know, they believe every bit of it. You know, they are totally invested in the product. You know, and especially if you're a heel, they let you know they don't like you. Like I had my tag partner and I, Mike Judas, like we had everything from broken glass to thrown on us to you know they would throw D-cell batteries at us. Like you know, it was yeah, it was got a few bumps in the noggin from debris getting thrown on me from wherever. Like, and you know, the glass was easy to get because the concession stands they sell, you know, they sell beer and they give you the bottle. They don't pour it like it's not like here where they put it in a plastic cup for you. So, you know, they don't trust us here. Like, uh,
So,
yeah, it was
do you feel that Puerto Rico is where you started to get your name out there more, working down there?
yeah, like I definitely noticed like you know I was getting in some of the wrestling magazines and stuff like that and yeah, like once you go to places like Puerto Rico, you know, I had gone to Japan a couple of times before Puerto Rico. Once you go to once you go to those places, you're kind of on the map. I noticed that I was getting a lot more calls from people. I had, you know, a lot of, you know, wrestling promotions, and then I was also getting calls from WWE for like tryouts. Hey, come on down and take a look. You know, it happened. You know, they wanted me to come to, you know, I think maybe two or three shows probably to have a workout just to see how I was doing before, you know, they actually, you know, pulled the trigger and decided to have me and and bring me on, have me be a part of FCW. And when I was hired, when I got to FCW wasn't in the building that they initially settled in down on South Dale Mabry over in Tampa. It was like they were in a batting cages over by the airport, this place called Hitmaster. And I remember like the day after, like you know, I went to went to a SmackDown. You know, I had a trial talk with Johnny Ace. You know, he decided, you know, hey, we're gonna bring you in. You got to report to you know FCW tomorrow. Sure, absolutely. And I went down there, and yeah, when I walked in, it was like it was very um, it was very overwhelming because like yeah, I walked into a room full of wrestlers that I'd seen in all these wrestling magazines.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow, like I just like I was taken back. I'm like, wow, this is really something. Like there's something really special,
Mm-hmm.
you know, going on here. And yeah, like we were at the batting cages for a short while, then we moved over to the warehouses, and that was its own situation because it was you know no very little ventilation, you know, and it was like, and I'm sure you've been to Florida in the summertime, you know how hot it gets down
Oh
here.
yeah.
You know, we only have two seasons, hot and hurricane. There's no there's very little fall and winter here. Like you know, we have a couple of months of nice weather at the end of the year, and then it goes right back to it. And good lord, yeah, like if any of us had any weight that we had to cut, that was the time. You know, we were working out. There would be a big sweat puddle in the middle of the ring that we would. You know, we do round robin drills and we're slipping on the sweat. I'm like, this is not, this can't be good. It's like trying to avoid getting a staph infection from whatever. But you know, it's like those things build character. Like
Mm-hmm.
I never complained about it. There were other people that weren't too fond of that. Like, you know, I grew up in Florida, so like I was already kind of conditioned to the weather. I'm like, yeah, this is just how it is. Like, make sure the AC in your vehicles and your house works. That's all I can tell you. Like, you got something to go back to where you can cool off. But yeah, I'm trying to think like getting to work with the trainers was something that was really really incredible. Initially, it was Steve Kern, Dr. Tom Pritchard, and trying to think of who else we had. I'm not sure if Norman Smiley was there right away when I got there. I think he might have came in later, but we had as a local wrestler by the name of Steve Madison. He was helping. He's one of Kern's students. He was helping out with a lot of stuff, and yeah, so it was a lot of days we're doing round robin drills and blow up drills. Then we would pair off and have matches, and we would get every now and then we would go into a live show. It might be a WWE live event, or it might be like one of our FCW events that around the Tampa Bay area. Like there was a lot of movement, a lot of action going on, and it was like as time went on, like more and more talent started to come through, and then you started to I was there when Sheamus's first day. Like I was there, when the Bellas got hired around the same time that I did. Um, Trying to think, um, quite a few people. But we had we had hold on a second. There was what was the place we had shows at? We were doing shows every week at this place up in Newport Richey. It was called Bourbon Street. And that was like the real raw, like it was a bar, like a nightclub with a whole like music venue in the back, and we set the ring up back by where the stage was, and that was really really exciting. And like and they would bring people in from TV to come and work some of these shows. So it was like everybody. I think we had Kevin Thorne. We had John Cena came in to do a promo once. Like it was really cool to get to intermix with the guys that were on TV. It definitely put us on a different spectrum with the fans too. So yeah, this wasn't that outlaw mud show wrestling you guys are used to seeing up here.
Was it hard for you to adjust to the WWE style, or was that something you were already incorporating?
Yeah, like there was a few adjustments because they wanted me to work a different style than what I was working. I did more like Diesel, Atom Bomb, Crush, like that kind of stuff. And they wanted to slow me down a little bit and they wanted me to be more like a Big Show with a little bit of like Kevin Nash thrown in there. Like it was the picture they were painting for me was definitely that. They wanted me to work with more of those style of moves, like clotheslines, big boots, like lots of forearms, and just throwing the guys around the ring, which I was totally okay with. I had no problem. Like I had quite a bit of strength. I did some powerlifting and some strongman, so like tossing people across the ring wasn't a problem at all. And yeah, they were trying me out in different things. Did some tags. I had a tag. They paired me up with a few people. I tagged my first tag match. The first match I think I did was with I tagged with Dan Rodheimer
Mm-hmm.
against Mike Knox and Derek Nykerk.
Mm-hmm.
And that was we did those for a little bit, and then they had paired me up. A little while later, we started doing tags with G-Rilla or Brodus Clay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, G's really solid dude. Like, he already kind of like figured out like the formula that they were trying to give to us, and so he smartened me up about a few things, and it helped move things along for me. It was really things started to come together for me because it was I sometimes it felt like I was putting a square peg in a round hole with the stuff that they wanted me to
Mm-hmm.
do. Like they wouldn't, and like when FCW was really ticking and popping, like it was really hard to get one-on-one time with some of the trainers. So like if you doing like an evaluation after your match or something like that, like sometimes it might be tough to get some time with with Kern or with Dr. Tom or
Mm-hmm.
you know later on we had you know added more members to the All Star cast. They had Norman Smiley and then Dusty Rhodes came in. Um, so like I had worked with Dusty a little bit. I worked production at TNA when they moved to Orlando,
Mm-hmm.
and I was there off and on for a bit. So like I had already gotten to experience Dusty in full effect. Like he's definitely got a brilliant along with everybody else. They all
Mm-hmm.
have one brilliant minds, but I did get to chat with Dusty every now and then. Um, but yeah, like a lot of times, like we would when I did get one-on-one time, and we would start going over the matches and seeing like I would probably have 50 questions in my head for these guys, knowing that they're probably going to have time to ask maybe five,
Mm-hmm.
two, but who knows? And but I always did my best to make them happy and do what they suggested. Like a lot of stuff I definitely agree with. There was some stuff I was like, not really sure if this is the best way to go. But yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
that's that's what you're there for. Like they're there to shape you into something. So I was definitely following their lead
Mm-hmm.
on a lot of stuff.
I noticed that with FCW in particular, it was football players, it was wrestlers, it was people that never did wrestling, it was models, it was
Oh
every kind of athlete. So I
oh, yeah.
I, I figured a lot of people could get lost in the shuffle or they wouldn't have time,
Mhm.
especially like you said when it did get going. They just when they found out the formula worked, they just maybe
Mhm.
they had too many people at one time. It seems
Yeah,
like.
yeah. Like I'm not sure the exact number. It was like because when they had the FCW, and then I guess when they had closed OVW, all those guys came down to FCW too. So we probably had I want to say 60 or 70 talent there,
Hmm.
and I think at the time at our disposal we had like four trainers. So it was Kern, Dr. Tom, Norman Smiley, and Billy Kidman.
Hmm.
Uh, um, I'm trying to think if I'm forgetting anybody else. If I am, I'm sorry. Like, um, we had Dusty would do character development, and they also another guy from OVW, Timmy Baltimore,
Hmm.
would come down, and yeah, I worked with him quite a bit on stuff. He's definitely another one of those guys that's underrated in the business. He got a brilliant mind for how to put things together, like with promos and how to kind of give it that little cherry on top, give it a nice finish. But mhm.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So as they were wanting you to work a certain style, was there a certain character that they wanted you to portray doing all this? Because I noticed a lot they would just change, like you'd get weeks of this is who you're going to be, and they're like, we're going to go the
Yeah,
polar opposite.
yeah. That's kind of like I would try to make like a nice with what they were telling me. I'm like, all right, well, uh, I'll try to make like you know, I would say like a nice mix between like what the heck was I going for at the time? Like I know one of the gimmicks that like I had like a I had some long pants, kind of like Undertaker, yeah,
Hmm.
American Badass, like um, and then I had like a match singlet, and like I was trying to like mix maybe like a little bit of like Killer Crush and American Badass Undertaker together. Like I was trying to pick two things that I knew that I could do well.
Hmm.
Um, there was that, and then yeah, they get like when I came in, like I was Titan,
Hmm.
like Titan, and then one day I walk in and we're doing promos, and Dusty Dusty had called me Jason Boss, and I'm like he was like, yeah, what's up, Big Jason Boss. I'm like, what? Who? What? And he's like that's your new guy. He's like, that's you. I'm like, well, yeah, Dream, you're gonna have to. Can you paint a picture for me? Like, what's Jason Boss about? And the first thing he said was Dukes of Hazard. I'm like, Boss Hog, and he, he's like, think of it as like one of his kids. I'm like, huh, okay. Like, do you want me to wear? Do you want me to get the whole outfit and everything? Is that the next step for this? Like, he's like, right now, I just want to see what you can do with that. Like, with that information, he's like, go in the back and think about what you're gonna say. I want 1 minute of constant verbiage. So like, okay, sure. And I went back and like, you know, promos weren't always my strong suit. Like, I can get through a promo, but it was like, not until I had like, help with people that were
Hmm.
very good at promos that I fully understand the structure of a
Hmm.
promo and like how to execute certain things and yeah, like I did my best. Like I can't say I did well, but I did my best.
Did they have any plans for you during all of this that they wanted to roll out?
Yeah, there were a few times like the writers would come down and they would watch us all do some matches and stuff like that. And sometimes they would pull us aside. Well, I think this would be really good for you. I think that would be really good for you. And it would just be like a raw outline of like of what the character is. Like you've seen like all the sketches
Hmm.
of like how they usually give you like a sketch of what kind of gear the guy might wear. Like like they'll have a few things like pre worked out, like a basic description of the person, and they would want you to try to make that work. And I also had a few things that I pitched and got shot down, and like hey, this is I get it. You guys don't want to do anything too out of the realm of wrestling and stuff like that. Like, but yeah, there was. I'm trying to think, probably two or three times when the creative came down while I was there
Hmm.
to see what we could do with the stuff that they had. Like, there were some people that could just knock it out of the park every time. They just they understood what needed to be done, and
Hmm.
they went in there and handled business.
So when your release came, were you still being used regularly?
Uh, I'm trying to think. Like, I think at the time, I don't think so. I think they weren't doing a whole lot of live. They were doing live shows at FCW, but I hadn't been on a few of those. Like, I kind of sort of saw it coming, like because that's usually like an indicator. Once they started like um, not booking me on the shows, and like I started to see that was kind of the way things were going. Like but they were doing that with a few other people. Like I was it was kind of as much as I didn't want to get that phone call, which whenever you get a phone call from the office after 5 p.m. on a weekday, it's either related for travel or it's the other thing. And yeah, they um, yeah, I remember just like that feeling like, oh no, like like but because anybody who's ever stepped foot in a wrestling ring, that's your goal. Like, that to get to go to WWE. Like,
Hmm.
that's the biggest company in the world. Like, why not? Like, and yeah, like, but I made the best of it. Like, I still maintained good contact with everybody. Like, after my release, I'd gotten a couple of phone calls. To do like commercials. I did a commercial for Dunkin' Donuts, the regional commercial up in the Northeast. It's called Dustin and Goliath. I was in there with Dustin Pedroia from the Red Sox.
Hmm.
It's pretty funny, and did some extra work. Like I did extra work on Total Divas and a few of their other projects. And they still had me come in for a few more. Like I was signed from like 2007 to 2009, and I did the commercials and at the end of like 2009, and then they had me come back in. I believe it was in 2010 for like another look. I think they were trying to put together a cast for one of the seasons of NXT
Hmm.
back when NXT was a TV show, um, or like a weekly show. The and then I believe I had one more after that, but you know I Uh, I came in, I heard what they had to offer, and it was the same, pretty much like the same situation. Like I would be in developmental for a bit, and then they would find something for me. Um, and then I guess I had probably taken too long to respond, and then that wasn't a thing anymore. But I was also like after FCW, like I had pretty good momentum. I was
Hmm.
working, uh, I was traveling around quite a bit. I got let's see, I got to go to went back to Puerto Rico. Um, got to go wrestle in Mexico. Um, I got to Mexico was fun. I got to probably wrestle half a dozen matches with Sean Spears,
Hmm.
which who's another amazing talent. Like he's another guy that can definitely elevate you. When you share a ring with him. But yeah, that was a really wonderful time, and we got to go to went to Bahamas. I think I went back to Canada a couple of times. Went back to Japan. Um, got to go do a few shows for a company called Hustle,
Hmm.
and yeah, it was uh, where else? Where else? Um, I was working for what's the promotion called? I'm having a brain fart. TCW, Traditional Championship Wrestling, which um, probably hands down one of the best locker rooms that I've ever been in. Like just as far as like a brotherhood in wrestling, like camaraderie. Everyone tries to help each other and elevate each other. I didn't see
Hmm.
a whole lot of people like trying to cut each other off at the knees and stab each other in the back. And continued on doing some. doing some extra work. I did a few, uh, I got a few auditions through WWE for various projects, for like, the opportunity to do like creature acting
Hmm.
and lots of really cool things like, that I didn't make the final cut for some of those, but it was I'm still very grateful for those
Oh yeah.
opportunities, which opened up doors for me in a lot of other places. So
So life after WWE has been pretty good.
yeah, yeah, like it definitely working for WWE definitely prepared me for the road ahead, and not just in wrestling, just in life, just how to
Hmm.
approach things, like how to be certain with what you want, and don't you know go in with a plan, go in with a goal, and
Hmm.
execute it, that kind of stuff. And it's really was a wild time. Like I tell people all the time, like like even though like I haven't wrestled on a live show in a while, I still do. I train in the ring every now and then. I still do some behind the scenes work. I do help with production on it with a few shows and stuff. So wrestling's kind of like the mafia. You're never really out of it. Like, you don't get to leave. Like,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to. I don't want to leave either. Like it's definitely something that's still in me. It was my, I wrestled, full time for 10 years.
Hmm.
Like, that was my only job. Like, I was able to have a have a very good life. You know, beating up people around the country and around the world. Like, it wasn't. It was always an awesome time.
Hmm.
It's like still favorite job. Like, but who wouldn't like to beat people up every day?
That's
Like,
true.
your stress levels will be so low. You have no idea.
Where can people reach out to you at?
They can find me on Instagram. I have one set up for the fans. It is Mike is Titan, all one word.
Okay.
And I don't really have anything else set up. I have a Facebook account for my family and stuff like that.
Okay.
But
Well,
yeah, guys can definitely find me out there.
I just want to say thank you for taking the time out today, sir. Thank you for what you've done for
Yeah.
professional wrestling. It's truly been an honor to finally be able to sit down and talk a little bit about your career.
Oh yeah, yeah, man. I thank you, and I appreciate what you're doing too. Like you got a really cool thing going on here. Like it's great for the fans, and it's great for the boys and the girls too. Like yeah, a lot of people don't know about
Hmm.
this kind of stuff, and like you can find it all in one place. Get everyone's take and everyone's ideas about what was going on, what they went through. So yeah, man, keep up the great work. Yeah,
Thank you.
I'll
And
be looking out.
if there's ever anything that I can do, please feel free to reach out.
Absolutely, absolutely, I will do, man.